Hey everyone, welcome to Founders 365 with me, Steven Haggerty. Today I'm joined by Neil Laughton, founder of Laughton & Co. How are you today, Neil?
Hi, Stephen. Morning. Good to see you.
Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. And I think you are probably one of the first and only guests in terms of your personal life journey and what you've achieved with such an outstanding list of achievements. What you've done is absolutely incredible.
Thank you very much. It's all made up.
Yeah, it's all made up. It's all just, it's all VR. That's it. You've just done it in a VR world. But I'm pleased that you're here. So I guess the first question, before we get into sort of you as a person, let's just get an overview of what the business does, what you guys do, what you guys deliver.
So Laughton & Co. is essentially me. It's my third career after one in the military, one running a reasonably successful construction group business. And I'm sort of semi-retirement, if you like, but working hard to help others, reach their goals and aspirations from a business and life perspective. Although I don't think I call myself a business coach or a life coach. So I'm just out there helping those who are in my sphere of influence, try and be, as the T-shirt says, go from ordinary to extraordinary.
Ordinary to extraordinary. And I also love the fact you said semi-retired. And I think we both know that an entrepreneur or businessman can never really retire. Your mind will never just suddenly one day be like, okay, I'm done.
No, you're exactly right. And funny enough, I get most of my great new ideas whilst sweating away on my mountain bike every other morning, So getting out in the outdoors and just freeing your mind from, a computer screen is really good for my entrepreneurial juices.
Exactly. Let's talk about that then, because I think your background is extremely impressive. Do you think that the fact that you were in the Royal Marines, that helped breed that sense of obviously resilience and motivation, but do you think in the business world that helped you and gave you strong foundations to be able to obviously lead teams and grow businesses to the size that you did?
I think it did a couple of things, and the first I'd say is an innate confidence. So when you put yourself through a tough selection process and surround yourselves with high performing individuals, that rubs off on you. Can't help but not. And so it does give you the confidence to get out, change direction and go for aspirational goals and dreams that you might not necessarily have had. So I found my 12 or so years in the military inspiring, motivating, and helped me acquire some of that inner strength and the resilience, as you mentioned, and also just sort of skills. And you get to practice, the important skill sets of leadership in a real time environment, and
Yeah.
that can be pretty powerful when you translate that to a business or an adventurous world, which is the one that I now occupy.
And I'm curious to know how you went from leaving the military to growing a construction-based business to 40 million turnover. How did that story happen? Because it's not like everyone who leaves the military automatically becomes a success in business, unfortunately.
Yeah, but many do because they have those skills and the
Yeah.
confidence and the self-esteem, and frankly the drive, that got them into the military in the first place. It goes without
Super
saying. You have
self-motivating, isn't it?
physical, mental, powers and strengths, and so for me, it was just a different direction, and going from a full-time military career and switching to a full-time business career is just a different cog in the brain, and a different type of outfit to wear.
What one do you enjoy most? Do you enjoy the business life, or do you enjoy the personal sort of adventure style that you obviously deem to love?
Well, for me personally, the adventure is my passion. So that is the thing that drives me, that excites me, and frankly, gets me up in the morning if I've got something to plan for an adventure with others, that's as much as I need to be motivated, to have ambition, and to spend time, in front of a computer planning a logistical or itinerary for an adventure. But the rest is a means to an end, if I'm perfectly honest. I love my time in the military, but I probably love the adventure side of the military more than the other responsible side of the paperwork and the planning side of military escapades. And so for me, it's all about the adventure and doing exciting things with your life. Business is a means to an end for me personally.
Yeah, it's an enabler, right?
Yeah, it has its great moments and challenges and rewards, but as I say, it's a means to an end in order to really enjoy the aspects of life that I enjoy.
That you've done. I mean, let me get this right, and I'm going to read from my notes here. But you've led 50 plus expeditions on 7 continents. You've climbed Mt Everest with Bear Grylls. You circumnavigated the UK and Ireland on a jet ski, casually, and piloted the world's first royal road legal flying car. God, that's a mouthful for a Monday morning. Come on, give me a break. On a 10,000 kilometer journey from London to Timbuktu.
So guilty as charged. But after 35 years of couple of expeditions and adventures a year, your portfolio of
it adds up.
All of a sudden is reasonably long. That one you were talking about. One of the things I love is flying. Always dreamt of being an eagle, and so we humans, we have a wonderful existence. We have opportunities to fly. So I've flown everything from a silk handkerchief, aka a parachute, through to helicopters and planes, and they've all got their interesting challenges, and I've had quite a few near misses and in most flying incidents, but it's a wonderful thing to do. And that thing you were tongue twisted on, it's the world's first road legal flying car that I was the chief pilot, and I organized an expedition from London to Timbuktu, crossing the Sahara Desert in this contraption.
That's just incredible. I am really intrigued about the mindset that you have, because very few people have achieved what that, the list of achievements that you've done. I know you're saying that it's over a period of time, but that's sort of irrelevant, because it still means that you're, the way you look at situations is different to most. And when you look at situations like that, that the first road legal flying car, taking it 10,000 kilometers, what goes through your head to gear yourself up for that? What goes through your head to make you motivated and excited? And obviously, 10,000 kilometers is a hell of a long way. How did you then make sure that you're motivated enough when challenges arise? Because I'm sure it wasn't an easy 10,000 kilometers like popping to Sainsbury's. How did you do that? What's your method of sort of motivating yourself and getting yourself through challenges?
Well, I think that's quite a deep question. Motivation comes from within, and I think there are it's easily deflected. People can be deflected from their dreams and aspirations by the pressures of life, family, money. I'm not stupid. I know that these things exist, and yet I've never stopped in my tracks because of any one particular problem, obstacle, or roadblock. Actually, that motivates me more to try and, when you mentioned the circumnavigation of UK and Ireland on a jet ski. I went to the I won't mention the manufacturer, but we went to the leading manufacturer, and the sales director was very generous in offering a package. The 4 of us going around UK and Ireland, and they offered us a great deal, but in the second breath he said, it's impossible, you're never going to do it. And so
I bet as soon as he said that, you're just like, watch me.
Right the way from when I was 12 years old, I recall my headmaster at junior school saying that I probably would never pass an exam. And he literally said that. I've got a school report written from out of the attic that said, Neil is trying very hard, but achieving very little. Like, that's a quote. And so all my life, people, have said, you can't do this, you won't do that, you're not going to succeed. And actually, bollocks. I just found a way to succeed and to make things happen and to take action. And that's pretty much the motivation that I need to achieve all of the things that I've done.
Exactly. And I think that's the key though, isn't it? Because I think people search for this secret source of people being able to achieve things and do things. And you summed it up right there. For me, I always bang on about it. It is action. It's, if you don't do something, even if people tell you can't, you're never going to find out the answer. What's your view on sort of, I bet this could be a bit controversial, but like modern day sort of situations which are so influenced by social media, so influenced by sort of the online world, and from where I stand, it actually can be a very great positive thing, but also can really be limiting for people because it sets the bar so ridiculously high, because the view to entry on people's accomplishments is so easy now. So for you, what's your viewpoint on just that situation in terms of how people can view motivation within themselves and take that action?
Well, I recall an aspirant round the world cyclist. I think his name was Steve, and I kept meeting him every year at the same kind of party or conference or whatever it was in London. And every single year, I sort of somehow remember this guy, said hello, had a quick drink with him. How's your plans for, have you been around the world yet? And he kept saying, no, I haven't got my website done. I haven't got the funding. And at one point, year 5, I said, for crying out loud, just get on your bike and start cycling. And I believe he did. And thankfully, he had his real life dream of cycling around the world. But people put things off and they get distracted, or they're looking for perfection. You're never going to find perfection. I always try and come up with an idea, get some good people on board to help me, good teamwork, allocate some tasks and as a strategic bit, and then get out and talk about it and put a date in the diary and literally aim to go for that. Worst case scenario, you might have to delay a year, but hopefully not. Put a good plan together, get some good people, things will happen, and just be really positive, and go for it.
What do you think was that moment for that cyclist there? A great example from after you sort of almost sounds like 5 years of frustration from you, because you probably saw that would have been an amazing journey for him. The first moment he spoke to you about it, 5 years later, he's still speaking to you about it. I mean, we've all been in these situations where people have told us stories of what they want to do and not doing it. And then you say, just bloody get on with it. What do you think for him was that turning point? Do you think it was literally just like, actually, yeah, I just need to literally put one foot in front of the other and go?
Yeah, I just think he needed somebody like me, could have been somebody else, but like me, to give him permission to just go for it.
Yeah.
Even if he hadn't got all of the money, or, if his website wasn't quite perfect, or he hadn't got the best bike. There's plenty of excuses out there. Alternatively, many years ago, there was a young man called Mark Beaumont, who is the current round the world record holder, credible 18,000 miles in 78 days.
Wow.
Well, he rang me up 15 years ago, said, Neil, I'm going to be riding around the world, leaving in May or whatever it was, 97 or 2007, I can't remember exactly. I just need a little bit of extra cash. I'm going to go come what may, but that's really going to help me with a new pair of tires or something. And so I put him in touch with somebody who then put him in touch with a company called Artemis, who his lifetime sponsor now. So if you don't have that kind of positive mindset that you're actually going to set off and give people the confidence that your business, your hobby, your adventure is going to happen, then they're going to have doubts as well.
Yeah, definitely. But one of the vital parts of that story is that he allowed himself to ask for help, which I think so many people struggle with in business, especially when they're founders or sort of very near the top. It's they feel like they've got to do it alone. They feel like perhaps they can't ask for help. But I guess in every single one of your situations at, you know, expeditions in life, you the only reason you succeeded is because you had that help around you, mixed with the personal ambition and motivation and action of moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, look, all my adventures have cost, you know, I don't know, I'd be guessing three
A
quarters
lot
of a
of
million
cash.
quid. Would I have ever put three quarters of a million quid of my own money? If I was a billionaire, yes, but I'm not. And so I've had to persuade other people to help fund those expeditions. And the main thing that I've managed to do, I think, is that positive attitude, is giving people the confidence that, you know, after a few years, you've got a bit of you know, kudos and credentials, you've achieved a few things, and that gives confidence. But it's also being persuasive, and also working out what it is, what help you need. There's a famous occasion where I wrote to a company asking for £50,000 for an expedition in Antarctica, and they wrote back a few weeks later saying, "Thanks very much, but unfortunately our minimum you know, sponsorship is 5 million." So I got that wrong, but you know, full marks for trying.
Did you reply back and be like, 5 million would do it as well? I'll be happy
Well,
with that.
I did, but yeah, I blotted the copybook. But
Yeah.
and the last thing I would say is that, and I've got my new expedition, big expedition for next year. It's a cycling one, which is why I'm on my bike quite a lot at the moment. We're going to try and set the world record for the highest bicycle ride in the world. And the sponsors can come with us to base camp. They won't come to the summit, but you know, they'll come with us on that journey and share the experience. And that's what I'm offering. So you've got to be creative. You've got to be persuasive and positive, and also think strategically about how and what you're going to give back. And of course, a great driver in all my expeditions, principally, is to find a good cause as a secondary ambitious aim, to raise money and funds and attention for a great cause.
Yeah, definitely. Do you find that recently or in the past couple of years, people have switched to or want to be doing more experienced things in life outside of business? Because there seemed to be a couple of years back a block of time where if you weren't working at your business, it was like deemed a failure already. You know, you had to work 23 hours a day. Thankfully now I think people have kind of realized that's just a ridiculous way of working and it is not tangible or sustainable. Have you seen or have you experienced people now, business owners, have wanting to do more experiences in their personal life to fuel their sort of enjoyment of life again?
I think your average big corporate boss has still got some way to go to believe that a happy workforce, a rested workforce, a mentally healthy workforce, in the long run, whilst they might not be spending that, you know, as much time behind their or at their desk, and you know, the old tricks of mid afternoon on a Friday, leaving your jacket on the back of your chair and letting somebody know that, you know, he's just gone for a toilet break. You know, those days are hopefully soon to be behind us. But I think, you know, bosses do need to accept the fact that you know, people's perceptions of what they want out of life is changing and needs to change, because I'm a great believer that if people are happy, they're rested, and they, you know, they collaborate, you know, well with their colleagues, then you're going to get a better performance, both
100%.
individually but also collectively.
Yeah, I think a positive that has come out of 2020 is not only companies allowing people to obviously work remotely and flexible, it's actually the employees and people that have worked remotely have given themselves that time to rediscover why they're doing what they're doing, what they want to do in life, what they want to be spending their time on, because it's so easy to get into that routine of, you know, getting up, going to the office, getting home, having dinner, going to bed, you know, living life on repeat, living for that weekend. And 2020 completely disrupted that and disrupted so many patterns. I know I've seen that there's been some incredible stories of people starting businesses from just an idea in their living room and actually realize that's exactly what they want to do, you know, never going back to the office again. And it's been such an interesting time from an entrepreneurial perspective to see how many businesses have been created from that passion side, that side of them thinking, you know what, I want to spend my time doing something that is going to enable me, like you said earlier, enable me to spend time with my family, enable me to, like you casually do, jet ski around the UK. As you do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't think there is almost a better time to be starting a young startup business. Actually, if you can find something that you're really passionate about, that you have some talent of and are prepared to put some elbow grease into, then now is a great time to be an entrepreneur. And I think, the great examples around me, my friend Tom was a children's entertainer, was after 15 years of 7-year-old parties, blowing balloons and all the rest, was getting a little tired of that. His passion was bikes, mountain bikes and fixing bikes. He's now got a very successful backstreet bike repair business in my local neck of the woods and doing very well for himself. And, anyone can turn a dream, a passion into a business with a bit of, bit of oomph.
And I bet he's never been happier to have his
Never
hands
been
full of
happier.
muck.
Big smile on his face, and it's not a false smile in front of the kids and parents.
Yeah, that's so true. One thing I wanted to ask you specifically, because of everything that you have done in your life, looking back now, what's your biggest achievement? What's the achievement that you look back on and you can't help but smile at every single time you think about it?
Yeah. Well, probably three. Number one is, acquiring 2 military berets. One is a green one, and those people who know their military and military history will understand. The other one is a sandy-coloured beret, which I had to work quite hard to acquire. The second was, and I know lots of people do it now, but climbing the 7 summits is a tricky, sometimes dangerous occupation. Climbing the highest mountain on each of the 7 continents, which was an aspirational dream in my late 20s and 30s, and it took me, along with skiing to the North and South Poles, 21 years to achieve.
Wow.
So a lot of ups and downs and so forth, and that's number 2. Number 3 is managing to persuade a lovely lady to marry me, and between us we've sired 3 beautiful children, and just that journey in itself, and raising 3 healthy and hopefully happy kids is number 3.
Amazing. All 3 incredible achievements, and I have zero doubt that you're not going to go off and achieve a hell of a lot more moving forward. I don't think you're ever going to be a man that is just going to sit at home. I bet your wife is just like, Neil, just sit down for a little bit. Let's just have a cup of tea. And you're like, no, I've got to go off. I've got to do something. Can never stop.
Well, interesting. People think that a lot, but like Sunday, I was sat watching, for an hour and a half the Grand Prix, and the day before that, I sat and watched England thrash Wales at rugby. These are my downtimes. So people think that I'm probably an adrenaline junkie. Not really. I'm your average bloke, and I just when I do go outside, I make the most of it, and I enjoy that. But I can also relax and sit in front of the telly like most people as well.
What do you think is one of the traits that, doing the expeditions, that climbing the 7 summits, all those incredible things, what do you think are some of those traits? What do you think is a trait that doing that has taught you that you've implemented in your business life?
I think apart from things we've talked about already, it may be a good moment to mention my 3 pillars for me personally, my business, and also that I'm trying to impart on others. And those 3 pillars are summed up in 3 simple words. And the first is discovery. So for discovery, what we're talking about is curiosity, ambition, and strategy, and working out what it is that you're going to do. But it's essentially going out and keeping an open mind and learning. The old adage, if you stop learning, that's the end of the road, isn't it? So curiosity, ambition, and strategy. The second is teamwork, and of course, if you can get trust amongst your team and others that you collaborate or work with, if you can create some efficiency, and then if you can but basically get alignment as well. There's so much particularly as demonstrated in America recently, so much fighting going on.
Yeah.
Just get people aligned to a direction or a purpose with values, then you're halfway there. And then the third for me, of course, Stephen, you'd understand this, is adventure. And by that, I'm thinking about people taking risk. Like we talked earlier, taking action.
Yeah.
It's about if you're adventurous, you innately become resilient. You have to. The things that you come up against whilst having an adventure, you need to be robust and resilient. And the final bit of adventure is accepting the fact that you deserve to have some fun.
That last bit hits the nail on the head for me. It's actually, you said it earlier as well, it's giving yourself the permission to do something, giving yourself the permission to have fun, that that you deserve it, because I feel like a lot of people get trapped in that work mode. But I think me and you are very similar in the sense where, listen, you can't have both. You can't have one without the other. You can't have a successful life and a crappy business. You need to have both that are in alignment, that are enabling each other. And for you to be able to experience all the things that you've experienced, it must just be a wonderful sort of insight into just the way people work and the dynamic that people have, that obviously enables you to help people that really need it, I guess. And one of my final questions to you, Neil, is what are you most looking forward to on your next adventure? You kind of mentioned it a little bit, you're doing a massive cycle, but what's the bit of an adventure that you always look forward to?
The beer and pizzas at the end of the mission. No, I mean, like I just mentioned, discovery, teamwork, and adventure. It's wrapped up in everything. I'm taking some clients to the Amazon jungle, COVID notwithstanding, in May, and we're going to take some paddle boards. We're going to get taken upstream in a remote part of a national park, some 3 of the tributaries of the Amazon River, and just spend our days, about just a week, floating downstream and down the Amazon River, camping on the riverbank, catching fish for our dinner, just being at one with nature and ourselves, and being curious, discovering, working hopefully efficiently and harmoniously as a team, and just having an adventure which will enhance not only our personal lives, our mental health, but create new opportunities, I'm sure, not least of which the group themselves will become very close and hopefully bond. But also, like I mentioned earlier on the bike, when you give your brain time to reflect and to collaborate with others around a campfire, some amazing things happen.
Yeah, I was gonna have a question that popped up there for you. On those situations when you're spending a week with people, what do you think when you see them on day 1 versus like the day 7 when they're getting the flight home? There must be an incredible amount of change that happens within them that you're just privy to see and experience, but you also must know that's going to happen because it's happened to you. And do you just allow yourself to do you just wait for those pin drop moments to happen across the bonfire?
Yeah, look, everyone is affected in different ways, but the overall people just grow. They just grow internally, externally, mentally, physically, psychologically. There's growth, there's change, and there's growth, and there's acceptance, and there's all sorts of other wonderful little spin-offs. And in fact, I'm going to do another TED talk talking about what adventure can do to transform people. And I've seen, I could give you examples, and I will, on this TEDx, specific examples of where people have come with me on an expedition. One a young West Indian lad, who was, not in education, training, and so forth, and is now an entrepreneur running his own restaurant. Another friend of mine who very nearly decided not to come on a jungle expedition many years ago because his boss would refuse him the extra week that he needed for going to Indonesia. He quit his job, came with me on the expedition, and has now, as a result of that, started his own kind of company. And the net result of that, as apart from a life much better spent, he's raised £40 million for charities, got an MBE from the Queen for it, changed his life on the back of a 3-week expedition. Okay. So, adventure is really and can be very, very powerful.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the more you experience in life in general, the better person that you're going to be. Neil, listen, this has been an honor to speak to you, and I think, like I said, I don't know, I've spoke to someone that with quite the amount of achievements that you've had, so thank you for giving me the time.
Well, you're very kind. They're all made up, as I mentioned.
Yeah, it's all just a book. But Neil, I guess my final question is, how can people find out more about you? How can people connect with you, follow your journeys, and just experience you?
Look, I'd love to connect with anybody that wants to connect with me. The usual old channels: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. I mean,
everywhere. You're everywhere.
The younger, trendier ones, maybe not, but all the old platforms, so to speak.
You're not on TikTok yet.
I'm not even sure. My daughters are.
There you go, Neil.
But good to speak to you. Lovely conversation, and best of luck. Happy Christmas.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Neil, and thanks everyone else for watching and listening. This has been Founders 365.